Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce of myself. My name is Prastowo. I'm from 5TBAB in UIN Saifuddin Suri Purwokerto. Hello everyone. How is your day? Today I'm going to tell you about Islamic education and culture change in Arab. Education is an important aspect that is of particular concern to the countries in the world. In accordance with its function, education is a way to develop basic physical and spiritual abilities, shape character and personality, and increase one's dignity. The ability and dignity of the people of the country is determined by the level of education of the country. Because of this, education is an important asset for a country, as with its function in improving and developing a society. Education plays a strong role in changing the cultures that surround that society. The easiest example to find is the culture of the Arab. The change of the Arab nation was so visible when the arrival of Islam was marked by the prophethood of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Arab was society previously said to be very far from civilization. Then Islam came to change the civilization, attitude, and characterize people periodically. Okay, next is Islamic education ideology. Etymologically, ideology means a collection of systematic concepts that are used as the basis of opinion, even that provide direction and purpose for survival. The way of thinking or of a person or groups, understanding, theory, and goals, which are socio-political programs. In terminology, ideology is defined as a system of values or beliefs that are accepted as fact or truth by certain groups. It is composed of a set of attitudes toward societies, institutions, and processes. While the ideology of Islamic education is a set of educational concepts that are used as basis that provides direction and goals in accordance with Islamic law to form human beings in all fields. In Quran Surah Luqman verses 12 until 16 mention that the purpose of education is related to the key word ashukr, gratitude, which means obedience. Al-Jurjani explained that graduate is to mobilize all potential to worship Allah. If the concept of graduate is associated with the goals of Islamic education, it be formulated that the purpose of Islamic education according to the first is to develop all the potential possessed in obedience to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. To realize the goals of Islamic education, things that need to be considered are the categories of Islamic education curriculum, creed, Sharia, and moral. Islamic education must cover these three aspects to ensure the realization of the goals of Islamic education. In realizing the goals of Islamic education, a method is needed that applies it. The method has a very important position in effort to achieve goal because it becomes a meaningful means of subject matter acquired in the curriculum so that it can be understood and absorbed by students. Without a method, a subject matter will not be able to process effectively and efficiently in teaching and learning activities towards educational goal. In Surah Al-Luqman verses 20 until 19, the method of Islamic education is also explained through the story of Luqman in education his son, namely 1. Lecture method such as Luqman's word and advice to his son. Number 2. Tabligh method such as Luqman conveying everything that must be done by his son. And next, how to be a role model, such as Luqman exemplifying good ethics to his children in word and action. Next, procedures for order and prohibition, such as prohibition of shirk, the command to do good to parent, and amar ma'ruf nahi munkar. In the ideology of education, there are many understandings. Among them are conservative, educational fundamentalism that view minimize philosophical and or intellectual consideration, and that to base themselves on a relatively uncritical acceptance of relevant truth or established social consensus, which is usually defined as common sense. Fundamentalist reasoning can be simplified into 5 things, namely, there are authoritative answers to all the problems of life that have significance. The answer basically follow the authority from outside, external, wherever it be from religions, revelations received by prophet and saints, backed by faith, common sense, intuitive folk wisdom possessed by most people. The answers are not only authoritative or authoritative, but also simple and straight to the point. The answers, they are unambiguous. Unambiguous can be directly understood by ordinary people, do not require special interpretation or expert interpretation. The answers are what they are and are literal truth. The answers provided by intuition or faith are sufficient from anyone who desires to live well. To live a good life, however, one need not only the return to the considerations of general wisdom or to simple, straight to the point religion, but it is also necessary to purify contemporary society and eliminate unnecessary elements. And next is educational intellectualism. Educational intellectualism philosophical reasoning is based on a world that is full of meaning. The existence of certain fundamental truths that are absolute and unchanging, precede or set a precedent for personal experience. Humans are not born with the provision of clear, explicit knowledge of this truth, so there must be awareness gained through experience learned in the natural world. In almost all cases, the aforementioned truth can be researched and understood through the practice of reasoning. Next is educational conservatism. Feature is number 1, respect for the past. Number 2, organic conception of society. Number 3, communal unity, constitutional sustainability. The next, against revolution, careful of evolutionary reform. Number 5, religionist foundation for the state, the divine search for legitimate authority. Number 6, prioritizes obligation over right. Next, individual character and communal character are very important. And last one, loyalty, common sense, realism, and practically. Number 2 is liberal. Educational liberalism. The philosophical foundation of education liberalism are to assume that the best way to think is to perfect the nature, instrumental process of problem solving by applying certain control in investigation, which will give birth to new, more objective knowledge. Knowledge must be proven by applying ideas to solving practical problems that exist in the world. Number B is educational libertarianism. The ultimate goal of education for libertarianists should be in the form of cultivating the rebuilding of society following a humanistic path, which emphasizes the full development of the unique potential of each person as a human being. The aim of education is to encourage necessary social reform by maximizing personal independence in school and by defining more human and humanizing conditions. The school's goals are to help students recognize and respond to the need for social reform or remodeling. They provide the information and skills needed to learn effectively for themselves and to teach students how to solve practical problems through the application of techniques. Solving problems individually or in group based on the scientific rational method. Next is educational anarchism. Anarchism is a viewpoint that defines the elimination of all institutional restraints on human freedom. as a way to fully realize the liberated human potential. For anarchist educational, which is seen as a process that must exist to learn through natural human social experience, itself should not be confused with school matter. By reducing personal responsibility, the state and school make it difficult for children to be educated in the true sense of education. They help undermine real education and strengthen what was worth training. Schools, like the state itself, are established primarily to regulate the need of its own creation. We need radical overthrow of the institutionalization, including the overthrow of schooling institutional test schooling. Next point is cultural change. Pre-Islamic Arab culture. In the social context, pre-Islamic Arab had several classes of people, different from one another. The Arab worship master anticipated slaves. Even the master is entitled to all the spoil and wealth, and the slave is obligated to pay fines and taxes. Slaves are like fields where farming product wealth. The prevailing power at the time was a dictatorial system. Many things were lost and neglected that the slaves couldn't put up the slightest resistance. Many of them were starving, and hardship that sometimes claimed their life. One of the evil behavior of the ignorant society is the treatment of girls. Among these behavior is the act of planting a baby girl alive for fear of humiliation and slander. The motives of the lower classes of society doing the same thing were for fear of falling into poverty, fakir, especially for fear of in the Bani Asad and Tamim neighborhood. Meanwhile, boys are treated with love except for the poor. Among the poor, they kill boys for fear the poverty. In the economic context, being a trader is the most dominant means to meet the need of life for the Arab community. At the time, famous Arab markets were opened, such as Uqad, Zilmajaz, Medina, and others. Pre-Islamic Arab economic practices are in a state of darkness. This can be seen from the attitude in justifying any means to get money or something needed, such as gambling, extortion, stealing, cheating, robbing, and multiplying money, assuring the people who borrow money to him. Such economical practice at the latter stage creates a social gap between the rich and the poor. The facts above are an indication of a society that is far from rules and noble values. In the political context, pre-Islamic Arab did not yet recognize a complete system of government as it is today. Even if there was, the organization structure was not yet perfect. The pre-Islamic government system was that they did not have a court where they could obtain legal certainty about the case, did not have the police as security guard, were not burdened with having to pay taxes to the absence of a government functioning as an executive body, and they also had no right to arrest convicts to be sentenced in accordance with the law, level and act of violence committed. And in religion, the majority of Jahiliyyah Arab are felt to be far from the belief brought by Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, namely believing the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as Rabbul Alamin. They follow the Watsani idol worship religion. Each tribe or tribe has its own idol as the center of worship. The names for the idol of the Jahiliyyah era were difficult, including Sanam, Wadhan, and Nushhud. So the religion condition of the pre-Islamic Arab is fading or getting further away from the teachings of the Tawhid religion brought the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. These religion teachings turned into a religion of paganism, a mixture of God and human. The next is Arabic culture after Islam. The arrival of Islam was marked by the birth of Muhammad in Mecca, who later, at the age of 20, was appointed as the prophet and messenger of Allah. The period later became a period of development for the Arabs to leave the era of ignorance and all its evil. In the early day of his prophethood, the prophet focused on preaching in Mecca to instill the basic of faith and everything related to Aqidah. This can be observed in the matter discussed in Surah Makkiyah, which are thick with issues of Aqidah and faith. In contrast to the next period in Medina, the Prophet began to apply Islamic laws and economic development as the basis of state and community life. The last is conclusion. Of the many ideologies of education, the closest understanding to Islamic education is the ideology of conservatism. The characteristics contained in this ideology are in line with the concept of Islamic education, which is fully based on Islamic values and past fundamentals. It is difficult to accept change the prioritization obligation of a right. In the social context, pre-Islamic Arab had several classes of people different from one another. The Arab worshipped master and dispensed slaves. The prevailing power at the time was dictatorial system. Meanwhile, the arrival of Islamic was marked the birth of Muhammad in Mecca, who later, at the age of 40, was appointed as prophet and messenger of Allah. The period later became a period of development for Arabs to leave the era of ignorance and all its evil. Maybe enough from me. Thank you for watching and see you on next material. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.